And hello, Hearts of Oak. Thanks so much for joining us once again. And we have Vicky Richter returning to us once again for a news review. Vicky, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
It's always fun having you on. Lots to discuss, and I think everything's from your X feed, so people make sure you're following. The handle is on your screen. Everything that Vicky is doing in whichever part of the world she finds herself in, which is always somewhere different, but always good reporting. And maybe I want to start with something you've done recently, which is a documentary, The Islamization of the West. Let me play just the first 2 minutes of this and let us know a little bit about what that is, because it's so important to have these documentary styles to expose what is happening. But here we'll just do 2 minutes of this, which is pinned to the top of your profile.
From the Islamist perspective, the secular progressive is a useful idiot.
Which other place in the Middle East do you think that as a queer person you would have complete and utter liberation?
Lebanon, Syria, Yemen.
I keep getting comments that if I was in Gaza, I would be killed for being queer. And first off, there are queer people in Gaza, and they're being killed for being Palestinian.
As a gay man, I would be punished and or put in prison or killed if I were openly gay in Palestine. How do you react to that?
I didn't know that. I came with Queer to Palestine. I'm a trans, non-binary person, queer liberation, queer people live in Palestine.
Is being gay okay here?
No, and we don't have it.
You don't have gay people? Got it.
No.
What should be done to gay people? الحكم للي بده يمشي في هاي الطريق ويمشي في هاي الطريق يطبق حكم الإسلام.
Once the West is destroyed, the Islamofascists can easily just take that rainbow person or woke whoever and throw them off a building.
قدوم تنظيم داعش كان الكارثة الكبرى للمسلمين ونقطة تحول حتى بطرق وأساليب القتل فبلشوا.
Will not play the whole thing. That was with Turning Point USA. Give us a little bit of the background of it, why you did it, what it was to do, kind of how it came about.
So that's part 2 of episode 1. So it's a whole documentary series, and the first episode starts in New York and how Mamdani got elected as the new mayor in New York City, and my fears and suspicions how he will rule over New York City. Because when we go a little bit further east, like to London, and we have Sadiq Khan, or we go to Europe and see was mass immigration and bringing people with a specific background or religion. In my opinion, Islam is not a religion, it's an ideology, and it's a very masculine and conquerors ideology. So sad that when you are a strong believer of Islam, then you tend to go to more extremistic theories and scriptures, and that makes you believe and want to follow what Mohammed said. And Mohammed said you have to bring Islam to the world, even with conquering, or people convert freely, and if they don't convert freely, you can kill them, rape them, do ever what you want, because they are infidels and not worth anything to anyone, especially to a Muslim. And seeing this growing more and more stronger in the United States made me very, very doubtful that the American people actually know what they are facing. Because we didn't know it 15 or 10 years ago when Merkel opened the floodgates and said with her wonderful hand, you are welcome, we are schaffen das, we can do this. And as we see, no, we can't. No, we literally can't go up with this. And seeing America now having this in the city of 9/11, like when the towers fall and 3,000 innocent American people and international people died there. And then you have a mayor who said literally, I'm a socialist, I'm a Muslim, and I won't apologize for that in his victory speech. And with no sentence of, oh, I'm proud American, you just have to look into Michigan and into Dearborn, especially, or now Minnesota, what's going on there with the crisis right now with the Somalian fraud, or also with the whole city Dearborn. And then there are other places where they have already the quality of the problem, which grooming gangs and rapes and stabbings and fraud. They don't have the quantity because America is a very big country, so they can spread it very well and make it a little bit more unseen. But they have the same problems what we have in Europe and what you have in the UK. And with this documentary, what I do with Frontlines from Turning Point is that to shine a light on this problem, that the people in America are better prepared and aware of the problem. And it was one of the biggest topics what Charlie Kirk, before his assassination, before his murder, was talking about. Like, he was literally going on GB News in UK and said macro Islam is not comparable with the Western world. And now you have mega mosques popping up everywhere in the United States. You know on your own very well that what's happening in Texas, and we have this now here in Florida too. So having politicians in the United States saying, oh, we don't have that problem, we will never end up like the UK with such grooming gangs. It's there, it's here. You already have it. It's not in the big numbers, but you have it. So yeah, that was kind of my intention of doing this. And yeah, I'm kind of concerned what's going to happen with America if they don't stop it soon enough. But we have now ICE and Trump, and some of the politicians are waking up. You have more and more people saying, oh, we want to ban Sharia, especially in Texas, but that doesn't really work, I think, what we heard about Texas. So they're popping up those Sharia courts everywhere. But yeah, they still have time.
At least I think there are voices speaking to this. There are political voices that maybe we didn't have maybe 6 months ago. So the possibility is there, I think, for change. Whether or not they have the stamina for this or the powers, we'll wait and see. But I would love to see a drag queen act in Mecca, but maybe we'll need to wait for that. The gay
Yeah.
but maybe we'll organize it. I don't know. That would be a great documentary, filming that.
Yeah, let's wait on the London one. So the London one comes out around February, because I went to London in November and December and did the second episode, part 1 and part 2, about London and what's going on in the UK, especially shining a light on the grooming gangs and also on the weakness of the Church of England and the power vacuum which it created, and how Islam is trying to fill it or is filling it, and also about how Islam is connected to the grooming gangs, because a lot of people try not to connect it, but there's a huge connection there, and I try to shine a light on that in episode 2. So stay tuned.
We look forward to that coming out. Let's look at a clip from the House of Lords. This is Toby Young, Lord Toby Young, and he's talking about the banter ban legislation. This is the ongoing hate speech laws, the stopping of anything which may cause offence. And we'll just play the first 2 minutes of Lord Young speaking in the House of Lords.
My Lords, I declare my interest as the Director of the Free Speech Union, and I congratulate the 4 new members on their excellent speeches. I want to draw your Lordship's House attention to just one section of the Employment Rights Act and its impact on the hospitality sector, namely Section 21, which extends the liability of employers for the harassment of their employees to third parties. From October of this year, employers will have a duty to protect their workers from third parties. I should make clear that we're not talking about third-party sexual harassment, which they were already liable for, but third-party non-sexual harassment. And what does that mean for the hospitality sector? It means employers will have to take all reasonable steps, those are the words in the Act, to protect their employees from harassment by customers. That might not sound too onerous until you factor in that harassment includes indirect harassment, which has been defined by the Employment Tribunal as including overheard conversations, remarks, comments, jokes that an employee may find offensive or upsetting in virtue of their protected characteristics. And it's for that reason that the Free Speech Union has been referring to Section 21 as the banter ban. A couple of weeks ago,
The banter ban.
The ban.
The banter ban. Lord Young is a hero. If we didn't have him, the Free Speech Union would be in a much worse situation. But this is kind of what we're seeing in terms of controlled speech here in the UK, but many other parts of the world across Europe are having exactly the same issue, that you can't say anything that someone may take offense at, which means we're just going to be sitting there in silence, are we? But what were your thoughts about this dangerous legislation?
So I was like, when I heard it, the first thing was like, okay, so you just go to a pub now and drink your pint and then sit there and smile, because no, you can't even smile because maybe the waitress is thinking that's harassing her. So that's totally nonsense. Like, why would we do this? You go into a pub to socialize. Socializing means you're gonna talk with people about things what concerns you, which makes you happy, which is funny. And it's a very British way to be sarcastic about problems. Like, you literally invented kind of sarcasm and dark humor. So forbidding that and making that to an offense that the pub owner has to silence you as a customer because you make a joke about a dude in a dress in a woman's bathroom, just for example. And the funny thing is, even if the waitress would be transgender, just in theory, and you not addressing it to her, but you say, "Oh, I think that's very. I wouldn't want that a guy in women's clothes goes to a toilet with my missus or something, because that's kind of weird." And this person hears it and, oh, that's offending me. So we're putting personal feelings above the law and above our right to speak our mind. And this never worked well. Like, who defines what is hate speech? Is it is speech what you hate, or is it actually a speech which is literally hurting someone, or is it referring to violence to start a riot only because you make a joke about the dude in a dress, thinking to be a woman? Like, they literally delete the gray zone here. And why wouldn't you go then to a pub anymore? Then you can just sit at home, buy your Guinness, sit on your couch and talk. So they're literally destroying the very first places where people come together, talk about. And let's to be clear, where does revolution starts? They always start in a pub. They always start in a public place where people start talking and changing out ideas. I'm not saying that we're gonna start the next revolution in the next Wetherspoons or something, but or not chicken tikka masala or so. But it's like, why would they do this? It's not for saving the sanity of this poor little waitress who might feel offended. No, they literally want to destroy people coming together, talking about and having an opinion about things what they don't like. And right now, I think most of the people are not really happy about the government in the UK. So a lot of people will talk in pubs about the politics, what's happening right now in the UK, and that's probably might of a reason to bring those very authoritarian Orwellian laws into place. And yeah, they literally have their best people to promote those laws, because the minorities who are so offended so easily are most of them of those groups which people make jokes about. But it's not like that they hate those people. It's just a weird thing. And those people, and when you to be honest, when you go to a bar and there are a transgender, I don't want to bash transgenders now, but that's a very good example. They're very soft. Like they get offended very, very well because they think they have a right to express themselves, but they take us our right to express our concerns about it because they are a minority. So this is what they're using as their amplifier to get those people silenced. And because everyone can offended be something. When you say, "Oh, I don't like redheads because they're witches should be burned," okay, now I can go to the pub owners. "Oh, he said that, kick him out." Like, where are we? Are we in the kindergarten?
Oh, it's true, and certainly banter, dark humor, sarcasm, I think, and memes got us through the COVID tyranny, and that's what the government fear,
Yeah.
using humor to actually engage, to critique, to mock, all of that. And we'll finish with at the end we'll do one of the Amelia videos, that I think over the last 48 hours, and it's a way of mocking the system and just laughing at it. But there's another story you'd put up, another thing the government don't seem to like much is Christianity. And it is this is from GB News, and the title is Met Police Bans Walk with Jesus March to avoid provoking local Muslim community. And the police warned of a hostile local reaction to the UKIP march similar to scenes in Tower Hamlets in East London in October. And I'll show a picture of that. A walk with Jesus march, it doesn't sound very bad, but I think the problem is because of mass immigration, we've brought people in who hate our way of life, and this hatred often comes from Islam in terms of the freedoms we have. But no, a walk with Jesus march, I thought that would be good, Vicky.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, when you be honest, when you go to Whitechapel, like I was there for filming episode 2, it's like you go into another country. You leaving UK, you leaving England, and you go through this underground things where you click and that you can pay, and it already welcomes you with, "Oh, Islam is the hope," and you think like, okay, I don't know if I'm now in Afghan or in Londondistan or something. And now you see they even can stop a march expressing the faith of your country. Like you literally have your own church. It's the Church of England. It's not the Church of something. It's not like Protestant or Catholic. It's the Church of England. Like it's in its name. And your king is like the leader of the church. And normally you swear your oath on the holy book when you start office in parliament. Okay, now you can swear on the Quran too, which is very weird, but yeah, we have a freedom of religion. But the thing is, when we have this freedom of religion and we grant that to Islam, to Judaism, to Sikh, to Hinduism, I don't know, maybe to Jediism, whatever, but why can't we, as the minority faith of the majority faith of the country, of the constitution, live our faith in freedom? Why can't we march through a part of London and have to be afraid to steer tension? I don't think the Christians carrying a cross are therefore tearing up tension. It's the people who don't want to see the cross, who see a problem in the faith. And then we have to ask, okay, why do they have a problem? Because if this would be such a problem for them when they're leaving their country, which is predominantly Islamic and very authoritarian and very less human rights, and reasons why they say, oh, we are all persecuted and it's so horrible to live there. But coming then to the country where they seek sanity and seek all this welfare and this help and these freedoms, and then they can't even grant the host religion its right to execute their faith. Like that's kind of like a very weird way to think. And then you have the authorities like the police who just step down and say, yeah, we can't do this because we don't want tensions. What? Okay, maybe you should bring the other party into the conversation and say, okay, if you're going to steer up and go crazy because we are celebrating our faith, maybe the problem is on your end and not on the Christian faith. But now we come to the actual problem here, which is the police doesn't want to be called racist, Islamophobe. They don't want to be lose funding, because a lot of money comes out of the community, as we see who is standing in office right now in Tower Hamlets, in Whitechapel and London. There are people from that specific faith. So they are sitting on the money and say, okay, if you're gonna make that happen, maybe we're gonna reduce the money for the next period or the next year, or I don't know how you scale the monies, like monthly or quarterly or something, the budget. But they will cut the budget. So they go to the very hard topic, which is everyone's afraid of losing money. And that's sadly in our society very important. You can't survive without money. No official service can't live without money, so they're going to play the money card. Okay, if you let that happen, we're going to cut off the budget. Okay, then we don't want to be called racist, because if we call racist, then we don't get our DEI numbers, so we lose money again. So it's all about the money part and who has the money, who has the power. And sadly, they have a lot of money because they get a lot of funding out of countries like Qatar in those areas, so they can put all the money in there to dictate our politicians or our authorities, our services like Met Police, NHS, and all that stuff with their doctrine, because they're handing out the money. And sorry for talking so much about around the problem, but that's what I think. Where people in London and the UK should start thinking about it. Like, at that point, you're not even allowed to march through your own city. Like, it's not their city. It's not like, okay, when you cross that little gate in the underground, you have to show your passport and you enter a new country. No, it's still your country.
Yeah,
It doesn't look like it. It doesn't feel like it, but it still is.
and let me show the picture that you'd put up, and it was in the GB News article as well. And that was a picture from the last time UKIP, the political party, had a similar march in East London, and that's the group that turned up, which I think that looks like it's inciting violence, it's very aggressive. But hey, it's the Christians singing songs about Jesus. That is the real threat. Just in case we didn't realize. Um, Let me go on to there's another story, which is this health story, and
Oh, yeah.
this is the state of Wales. I mean, most parts of the UK are in a very bad situation, but this is the in Wales, and what you'd put up that you thought this was a parody account, Vicky. I thought exactly the same, and you better check it. And then you realize this is the um, for a health ambassador in Wales, and on the left she has her diversity certificate. That's her on the right. Palestine will be free. Her X handle, and she's a 23-year-old, I think, and she's hugging. I don't know whether that's her father or her husband. I've no idea. I'll let you to uh, decide for yourself. But is this the state of health in Wales? Give us your thoughts on this.
So when I was the last time in Wales, I didn't see so much obese people. So I was still thinking, yeah, they're really good with uh, doing sports. But when you see such a person as the ambassador for health, especially for women's health, what shall you think as a child? Like, what shall you think as a young teenage girl having such a obese? And I'm sorry, I'm thin, I know. I should not do body bashing, but nowadays it's like um, insane what we have to put on to be like tolerant. Like, when you even look into the advertisement, like in the 90s, you had I don't know, well-trained men and Heidi Klum or Giselle Bündchen on the billboard everywhere wearing Calvin Klein, and now you have a woman, like a man with breasts, wearing a bra, being obese, and then you have a very obese black lady. Not that the problem that she's black, but the problem of being obese and saying, "Oh, I love my size." It's okay, you can do this, but I don't want to see that. Like, I still think we have we should have healthy beauty standards, and a healthy beauty standards is keeping your BMI under 20. And obviously, the ambassador of Wales for health is not really in that category. And okay, some of the jokes what people put under the comments were like, I said, okay, that's a kind of a little harsh, but I understand that. Like, and then when you see, okay, she's not very healthy, she doesn't look sporty, she should promote what she lives. So what is she promoting? Is she promoting eating cake all day and or what's the baklava or something like that? And then you have, even to not fulfilling the standards of a healthy person, you have her ideology, which is openly showing everyone that she's promoting Palestine free. So she wants to, in the bottom line, she wants to destroy the Israeli Jewish part of the land and make it totally all Palestine. So she's not even promoting to a two-state a solution. She just want to rip out all the Jews, which is also not really good. If you have a public office or your public position, you can think that, and nobody says you're not allowed to think that. But if you are at the point you're getting a position, you should little water it down or keep it for yourself, because it's still promoting Hamas and Intifada. And then she said, she also said that Britain is not very friendly to Muslims. Like, what do you expect, lady? Like, you have grooming gangs raping through over 60 years through the country in over 50 states, like over hundred thousands of victims, probably even more. In one city, from 1,000 perpetrators, 11 get actually in front of court and get persecuted. Lady, what do you think? And they are all kind of like the same religion. Sorry for generalizing that, but people are starting questioning. And when you then see in like in Swansea, they have now 5, 6 mosques, and there were former churches. Like 3 of them were former churches. Like, I don't think people in Wales or in England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, or even in all Europe, like Germany, we are very happy about, or really welcoming about, getting our way of life with every year, every little more friendly, getting destroyed, changed, converted, conquered, deleted. We don't like that. We want to have our right to exist, and that's the problem with Christianity. We are too welcoming, we're too tolerant, we are too nice. But that's our faith, and Jesus learned us to love our neighbors and our enemies. So we're doing that and kind of self-sacrificing us right now. And and then we have this health. Like, I can't go over her obese. Like, having this as a health ambassador, that's like slapping everyone who tries to be healthy and not die on diabetes, type 1, type 2, or maybe they invent type 3 soon. And then you have that person, they are going to the children in schools and telling about a healthy life. And I would just stand up and go.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you do you, I do me. Like, I don't want to hear that. I don't even want to see that. And maybe that's very mean of me, and everyone's, oh, you because you're thin or something. No, but okay, it's hard work to stay healthy and stay fit, but you should do this for yourself. It's not for me doing this for another person. It's for me to stay healthy, and she should promote that lifestyle if she has that office or that position. That's my opinion about it.
Yeah, I'm sure the criticism she's faced, maybe there's a new opening for a new health ambassador. But yeah, I think that's we had the drag queens for Islam. We had that lady having too many pies and really maybe needs to work on her health. I should have put a warning up. I think we'll move on to safer territory. No images that may cause offence. The last thing we'd want to do, and it's this on Brazil, and you've covered a lot on Brazil, Vicky. And this is Brazil's justice system has entered the theatre of the absurd. Brazil's Supreme Court never fails to deliver plot twist worthy of a telenovela. The only difference is that in the soap opera, the corruption is fictional. And then you go on in another post to talk about the absurd amount of money that these individuals have from a normal salary. But what was your tell us a little bit about kind of why you focused on this and what you found out.
So, what I think it's very important to tell people, because when people think about Brazil, they see the Copacabana and all those football and this wonderful lifestyle and the bikinis and everything. But when you dig a little bit deeper, it's a narco-communistic dictatorship. And you have a Supreme Court which is literally handing itself more and more power and more money. And they don't even hide it anymore. You're not allowed to ask about it. You're not allowed to do a little bit investigation. Where does the money come from? But some of the stuff comes out, and then very brave people like Aldo Santos and other journalists in Brazil are reporting about it, but it's not really getting out of Brazil. It's staying there because Brazil is this kind of little microcosmos. And I was one of the first journalists internationally who went to Brazil on my own and saw what's really happening. Like, I interviewed the former Brazilian president Jair Bolsonaro in 2021 before he lost his presidency through election fraud to Lula, a criminal and a communist and a narco-communist. And the thing is, nobody out of the world around is like looking into it. Okay, we had now a little bit tension with the Magnitsky Act and stuff, but when we go back to the topic what I covered, it's this microcosmos of fraud. So you have this person who persecutes the president and everything around it, brings the former president into prison. The president is severe sick because he got stabbed, mostly died on it years ago. That's where more often surgeries, hit his head in the prison, and nobody was looking at him until the next morning. His wife was there, finding him with a huge wound. And he could have died there. Like, that's the idea of him having in prison, in my opinion. But then you have this Supreme Court who keeps him there, and then you have a fraud case where the attorney is actually involved in it, and he has the right to conduct this case in front of court. Like, and even the judge is kind of involved because everyone is keeping the other one safe with not looking and shining a light on it. So the whole people who literally should work in the name of justice are involved in everything, and then they have the chance to decide on their own crimes in the same case, or in the case of the colleague. So where is there the fairness? And what do you think they're going to decide? They don't put one judge into a prison for fraud. They won't. And then you have the wife of de Moraes suddenly create. Sorry.
That's okay.
Creating this empire and getting richer and richer. And when you think, okay, as a office holder of a judge, that's not that kind of big money what should come in, but they're all getting richer and richer. So people are asking, where does the money come from? Because Brazil is getting poorer and poorer. People are getting poorer and poorer. But this establishment class is getting richer and richer, and they are the party of the poor people, the working class. Like, this is like literally UdSSR, Soviet Union style, only with palm trees and papagayos,
Yeah.
like fancy birds.
No, but, and you have to ask that question. You
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to. People who start asking questions, or journalists, they get persecuted and put in jail. I went, like I said, to Brazil filming a documentary. At the day I wanted to leave the country, they seized my passport and said I entered the country illegally. There is no justice, no right. There is a two-tier justice system going on in Brazil, which is kind of a blueprint what we have in the UK, just in a different way, because they can't bring the leftist Orwellish ideology in every country the same way. So they have to shape it to the population and how the citizens are indoctrinated and trained to think. But it's the same kind of playbook. And when you see, okay, it's always coming from a leftist or left-wing society policy, infiltrates the law system, putting Supreme Court judges everywhere where they need them, or putting so much pressure on the law sayers, like the judges and the attorneys, to decide always in the favor of the party or the party member. And that's literally what's happening in Brazil.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's move on to 4 other. Let's see if we can do 4 minutes a story and get these last 4 in. This is about health in the UK and
Again.
cousin marriages. Again, this is cousin marriages. Again, for the US, I think half US states have made cousin marriages illegal, half allow it, and we in Britain seem to promote it. So here's a clip discussing the madness of our health service, talking about the benefits of first cousin marriages.
Britain's National Health Service says marriage and procreation between first cousins can be beneficial, and the risks have been, quote, exaggerated. New documents show that the NHS guidance to midwives states 15% of cousin couples have children that are affected by genetic conditions, compared to just 3% of children born to unrelated parents. However, the guidelines then go on to describe the benefits of cousin marriages, saying it can provide financial and social security and generate collective social capital. Sickle cell disease, cystic fibrosis, and muscular dystrophy are some of the genetic issues more common among the children of closely related parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, our health service promoting something that causes huge harm to children. The children don't get to choose where they are born. The parents should be able to choose, and seemingly we think this is wonderful. Again, sheer madness, but seemingly because it's maybe pointing the finger at Islam in many of these cases, that we have to just shut up and accept it.
Yeah, it's the same problem, just a different symptom. Because what do you think? So it's very sad for the children who get born like that, have to live with this diseases and this disabilities. But it's also a huge cost for every British taxpayer. So just put the human, oh, we feel so bad about the child part away. I'm sorry for doing this, but just people to understand how much money that costs you per month. Like, those families have not only one child, they have maybe 5 children. From those 5 children, maybe 3 disabled. And then the parents won't go to work because they have to take care of the child. So who's paying for them? You, with your taxes. Because they get welfare, the child gets welfare, then the next cousin probably gets welfare because he says, oh, I'm living in the house, I'm helping this disabled child, so I can't go working. So this is adding up. And it's not only one family, it's like 30% of the Pakistani population, because that's in their lifestyle. And then you have people, investments, that say, yeah, but that's how they are. That's a cultural thing, and it's cultural enrichment. That's not cultural enrichment. That's like a barbaric, disgusting behavior, because you're creating disabled people. I don't know if this is meant to be, if this is a good thing, if they feel good about it. But we left the Middle Ages where we marry our kings and royals marrying each other and having this majestic djinn, what we had in the Karl's line in Germany with Karl the Great and stuff. This huge djinn what he had, so he gave that to his heirs and all that stuff. So we see that they had inner marriage of the family and very small gene pool. But we saw that's not really helpful because all our heirs were dying very soon and went very old. So, okay, we are again in a Western country. Why do we have to accept that if we have to pay it? Like, if they want to have that, then go have those children and pay it on your own money, and not expect from NHS and welfare to cover those costs, because they're producing so much money what you have to pay, which is then missing, like in your a defense fund. And when you look into the army, the British military, you need a lot of money right now. Like, every country who helps with welfare on those topics could use this money for better, even helping veterans or helping homeless British citizens getting off the streets. But no, you're now promoting it as a cultural enrichment. It's not a cultural enrichment. There is nothing enrichment in this behavior in marrying your cousin. And then you have like old people marrying a younger cousin, and then sometimes you even have like a father marrying its seventh cousin's daughter or something. Like, it's a very medieval, barbaric, sorry for saying that, behavior, and we should not have it in Europe. We should not have it in the UK, and we totally mustn't promote it like you do. And then you have like Keir Starmer saying, we're not gonna forbid that, even in Parliament saying that, and say, oh yeah, we keep it that way. No, you can't.
Yeah, I've watched those debates, and just because you can do something doesn't make it right. And we're going to suffer the consequences and subject children to that life which they shouldn't be subjected to. Let me play this clip, one of the clips from Davos, from the World Economic Forum that's on. This is Callum Smiles from Vox Populi talking to Ed Miliband. Is it David Miliband? About immigration, and it's quite an interesting conversation. Shows the government really don't get it or don't care. So here's this short 1-minute clip.
A lot of people at home, immigration is now the biggest thing when it comes to what matters to the electorate. That's costing us a lot. Do you think Labour are dealing with that well? Because
what do you mean it's costing us a lot?
It's costing the country a lot to house them, to feed them, to clothe them.
Just for the record, all the evidence is that people who come to Britain grow the economy rather than leech the economy.
Not in small boats.
Well, I'm saying
they say doctors, engineers, but
I'm saying in total. If you look at the net impact, now the specific impact in different parts of the countries is real, and you're right. There's big challenge about it, but the government's doing something about it. And so, it's got both in respect of the small boats issue and in respect of the backlog that they've inherited, people who came on small boats, and in respect of returns that need to be done.
Well, there's one guy that was returned and came back 4 times. He was literally, it was a revolving door. So you'd say that policy doesn't work.
That was David Miliband. Ed would be even worse. But they're like mocking us. They pretending that this is not an issue. The public know it's an issue. And I guess because of the large Labour majority, they can just ignore the public. But it's the same that we see in every country, really, by those in government, isn't it?
Yeah, the thing is, like, it's always nice to hear, the government respects it. The government sees the problem. Yeah, the government will do something about it. You should have done something about it maybe 6 months ago or something. Like, it's not like that hard. You are an island. Like, you are a state, a kingdom of islands. Like, you should be very hard to reach for illegal people. And then you even pay how much money to France every month to keep the boats from not coming. So they owe you a lot of money for not doing their job. So it's like, at one point you can't even take them serious anymore. You just think, okay, are you actually listening? Are you living in another world? I don't think that they are dumb. I just think they don't care. They have their living. They have their ivory tower where they are, and then they are okay. Let the folk just survive either way. And then the audacity saying, oh, they just bring a net income increase. Yeah, but you can't put legal immigration with illegal immigration in the same pond. You can't put that in the same measurement, because legal immigration, first of all, it costs a lot of money to get a visa in the United Kingdom, and you have to prepay for healthcare just to be able to get a visa. So you are literally prepaying what you maybe never use. And then you have the illegal coming in horrendous numbers. Like, how are we right now? 60,000? 60,000 is a huge number for your little island to deal with. And then they don't pay in. They don't bring up front for 5 years healthcare payments. No, they just take. And they're not allowed to work. If they work, they do it illegally under the table. So they don't pay taxes. And then they get put into migrant hotels, 5-star hotels, and they get free healthcare, free food. And who's going to pay that? The British people. And the British people should have a saying in that, if they even want to do that, because they're paying taxes. So they pay the government to take care of them. They're not paying the government to take care about everyone else who's think to want to live under honey and milk. But that's the reality. And then you have like people in Davos sitting, oh, immigration is our strength. No, it's not. It's, if you reduce it to legal immigration. So I'm not totally against legal immigration. I think legal immigration is important to specific numbers and when you vet the person who's coming in. But illegal immigration, that's the thing with putting illegal up front. It's literally said it's not allowed, it's not wanted, and it shouldn't be here. And then saying, oh, we bring some people home. Like Colin said, yeah, there was one guy you deported and he came back 4 times. So, okay, who should take this government for, I don't know, who serious? You can't take those answers serious, but you have those answers everywhere. You have them in Germany, you have them in France, you have them in Italy, not so much with Meloni, but they are talking from the same playbook. They use the same words, the same sentences, the same wording, because that's how they what they learned. That's what they have to say, because they're also controlled. They're not doing this because they think, oh, it's cool to just destroy the whole economy for my country. No, they are trained to do that. They get money for doing that, and they are very well trained to do so.
Yeah.
And I don't want to start a conspiracy theory discussion who is in charge for that, but you see, it's all collective destruction of the Western world in Europe. And then they just smile, and then they even they want to put like a climate tax on you, and maybe one day you have a digital ID where they check how much carbon dioxide you produce, how many miles you drive with your car, and they fly with their private jets to freaking Davos. Like, they could take a freaking train or fly together. Like, it's not that everyone needs a private jet, but they don't care. They literally don't care, and they shove it off your throat and think, okay, the populace won't do anything. So that's my answer. They don't care.
And you've got a good article talking about the emissions and the private jets, and that's something that the viewers and listeners can see on your X feed. We may finish with this. This is about how the government are targeting veterans, our old troops. And here is a clip of some of them talking about how the government have removed immunity so they can now go after soldiers. I think this is to do with Northern Ireland during the Troubles, whenever we had soldiers on the streets fighting against the IRA and fighting against a terrorist organization, and they were given protection by the state because it was a war. And now the government want to bring that away. So here's this short 90-second clip from GB News.
Yeah, well, thanks very much for having us in. It's not the first letter that we've written, and collectively, I think we're just extremely disturbed about the haste. I mean, you've just given the news of the remedial order vote tonight. We didn't expect anything else with the parliamentary arithmetic, but the remedial order has been voted in, which removes provisions within the current Northern Ireland legislation before they've actually finished putting together what the government wishes to be the future legislation. And we're concerned that it's precipitous. It's very damaging for morale. It's very hard to envisage deploying soldiers to war zones like Ukraine, currently being talked about, when frankly people don't know what their legal status is, and whether decades after the event there's going to be all sorts of investigations and inquiries. And I note your headline talked about criminal prosecutions. That's not really what the cause for concern is. I mean, just to make it clear yet again, as everyone does, is that there's no call for immunity against the law, for immunity from wrongdoing. What the problem is there's endless investigations and inquiries which are hugely disruptive for people's life. No military veteran or serving soldier wants sympathy or an easy life. We wouldn't have joined if that was it. But what we want is...
Our veterans should be celebrated, should be looked after, and yet once again we find they're the target of government, and it's another attack on, I guess, British culture and the fabric that holds you together as a nation.
Yeah, and with this change of the law, it's like opening Pandora's box. So the veteran who was speaking, he little scratched it with saying, "Oh yeah, but there are so many other conflicts and wars maybe coming up where soldiers get deployed to, and then they don't know what to do." So this is literally opening, like I said, Pandora's box when you say, "Okay, everyone who kills someone, shoots someone, is declared as a murderer because it was a crime, and then later gets persecuted." This can be done to every soldier, to every conflict now. It's not just staying with Northern Ireland. It maybe can turn into Iraq, Afghanistan. Like he said, maybe Ukraine, if someone gets to deploy to Ukraine. I don't hope Ukraine, I hope so. But this is the line where it's going. And when you be honest, you already have a very small line to defend yourself in such situations. Like as a example from my military time. So we had a booklet, the way how to behave in situations like that. So it literally gets me into the situation. I mostly had to get shot to be allowed to shoot back, because it's self-defense. I'm not allowed to be the aggressor. But you send people into war zones defending something or fighting for something. So how does this add up? Because if I would be the aggressor, I could later go in front of court and they can declare me as that I conducted a crime. For me, being the person who gets sent to something, so it's not me voluntarily saying, "Oh, I pack my bag and my G36 and just head up to the war zone because I'm literally crazy and want to shoot people." No. As a soldier, you serve the country, you get trained to serve the country, you get trained to fulfill your job, your service, and fulfill the mission. And the mission mostly involves capital things, like things happen in war zones. We all know that, and this is the like how war works. If you don't like that, if you don't want your soldiers doing such stuff, don't send them over. But you're sending them over for the better good. okay, so your soldiers are good enough to send to war, to do the better good, to be helpful for your country, defending your country, even, and it was literally in Northern Ireland defending your country because there were terror attacks directly on your soil. So it's not even saying, okay, they with Afghanistan or stuff. But now you can put it, like I said, on other like other events, like other wars. So this whole idea doesn't add up at all, because you sending those people, you sending your servicemen, and then when they are happily, hopefully coming back in full peace, don't losing their mind on PTSD, because these are things which veterans have to deal with. It's not just, oh, we're just coming home because it was such a funny thing. No, they see stuff, they do stuff which is not really very good for your mind sometimes, and then they suffer from that, and now or they lose comrades, which is horrible for them too. So they are already punished enough, and now they're coming and want to bring you in front of court for actually doing your job. And I don't care if people say, yeah, but this is the same thing with the Nazis saying, oh, we just followed orders. Yes, they followed orders from the very own country which they sent them there, and now they shouldn't be persecuted for fulfilling their job. Because then you can put that same idea or rhetoric on politicians who doesn't come up with their, like, fulfilling their promises when they get elected. So I think it's a shame what's happening, and I think every veteran and active duty service member should have a very open ear what's going on there. And I think the government in the UK should get rid of this change ASAP and just leave the veterans alone or treat them better. But the minimum what they can do is leave them alone.
I agree, 100%. Vicky, always appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much for giving us your thoughts. And again, people can find all of those on your news feed. So thanks for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Not at all. I'm just going to play out just one, I think, 30-second video, one of the Emilia videos that have been going around. Basically, the government had a meme, a cartoon 2 years ago, I think, and it's been repurposed as a fight back against standing up for our rights as citizens. So here's, I think, one of the 30-second clips, and I'll leave you with this.
Tonks? No, I'm Amelia. We need to talk about Islam in the UK. Catholic, Protestant, atheist. We're all buggered if Islam takes over. Witches must be burnt, of course, but honour killing your daughters for not wearing hijab is much too far.
But Wallace, dogs are haram. If the Muslims take over, Gromit is a goner. Pigs are haram too, Pepper. Your entire family line ended.
And forget LGBT acceptance. Muslims will toss them out the window. Literally. First, we remove the Islamists from our government and our country, Paddington. Then marmalade.
I will leave you all on that and wish you all a wonderful weekend. And we'll be back with you on Monday. So thank you very much.
Thank you.